Hello everyone, it is me, Louis aka Duncan Gaming, and I'm back with another video today. So, here I will be ranking the narrow gauge engines, or at least most of them anyways. I'll only be ranking the main 6 engines, Scarlo, Rene, Sahandel, Peter Sam, Rusty, and Duncan. So sadly no Duke, Smudger, Mighty Mac, etc. I will say though that I love all 6 of these characters and truly do not dislike any of them. It was incredibly hard to decide which engines would be higher than the others on this list. The order of this list will be from worst to best. So, without further ado, let's get onto the list, shall we? Yeah, I know damn well that the number 6 spot is going to be controversial, but it's Scarlo. I'm sorry, you're all probably going to hate me for this, but let me explain. So, Scarlo's first episode was 4 Little Engines, and it's easily his best episode in the entire series. It showcases him as a determined, old and wise engine who will do anything for his passengers, and that's why a lot of fans love him. Throughout Season 4, Scarlo has always been this type of character and has been handled well. If I was only considering Season 4 episodes for this ranking list, Scarlo would definitely be higher up, but unfortunately we've got to talk about the later model seasons, so yeah, those have to be taken into account as well. In Seasons 5 and 6, Scarlo didn't do too much. He survived an avalanche, which was cool to see, and he got annoyed at Duncan's complaining in Duncan, which was in character for him, but not much else besides that. We get to Season 7. This was definitely a mixed bag for Scarlo. On one hand, I really like how he was handled in the old bridge. Yes, I am aware he was scared of crossing the bridge earlier, but people seem to ignore the fact he goes to save Rene without hesitation and manages to cross the bridge. One day I might even make a whole video of why I think the old bridge is one of the best episodes of Season 7, but to keep it brief, Scarlo and Rene's bond here is still incredibly strong. But on the other hand, the grand opening is a pretty weak Scarlo episode. Scarlo is portrayed as a impatient child, which is definitely not true to his character, and it frustrates me how nobody brings this up in this episode. I am not going to get into detail of how he was treated in the Hit era, because we all know how and we all hate it. Scarlo sucks in the Hit era. We all know why. I'm not going to explain. He was a reckless fool and a scaredy cat. The magic lamp was the only good Hit era Scarlo appearance, and that is it. I want to stop talking about Hit era already. Let's just move on to the next character, shall we? In the number 5 spot, we have the gallant old engine himself, Rene. He definitely had a very similar treatment to his brother Scarlo. His first episode, again, was his best episode, that being gallant old engine. But let's be honest, that episode wasn't really a Rene's episode. That episode was more about Scarlo and Duncan. Like his brother, Rene's is a determined, wise engine who will do anything for his passengers. I mean, not the most original character, but I like him so far. In Season 5, he got mad at George and ran away from a boulder. Pretty much it, he did. He was very blank in Season 5, let's be honest. Rene's got more screen time in Season 6 than he did in Season 5. I really like how stern and blunt he is in scolding Duncan in the episode Duncan. And I like his joking side in faulty whistles when he whistles along to the organ when Duncan loses his whistle. Season 6 was actually surprisingly quite a good Rene season. Rene is also perfectly in character in the old bridge, reprimanding his brother when he refuses to cross the bridge in the episode. And as mentioned earlier, his bond with Scarlo is really good. Oh boy, the first actual Rene episode with Rene in the roller coaster, and it fucking sucks. Like how Scarlo was treated in the grand opening, Rene is a stupid, impatient child. Can we just get a good Rene episode, please? Please? The same thing happens in Rene and the Dinosaur in Season 9. But unlike the old bridge when his bond with Scarlo is handled well, his bond with Scarlo is just awful in this episode. Rene treats him like filth. I will admit, however, Missing Trucks from Season 10 is actually a pretty good Rene episode and one of the best episodes of the season in my opinion. I like how Rene is determined to help out his brother again. But this is the only good Rene moment in the Hit era. All the rest is dog shit. I'm sorry. He is still an idiotic child in Season 11 and 12, like with Scarlo, and it's just sad to see such a good character ruined like this. Now, in the number 4 spot is the little green engine himself, Peter Sam. Peter Sam also first appeared in Season 4, like the other narrow gauge engines, but we find out he was originally called Stuart. In his original form of Stuart, he was a very cheeky, hyper, and easily annoyed engine, as seen in episodes like Grandpuff and You Can't Win. When he gained the name Peter Sam, he becomes more of a friendly and optimistic character, and very gullible as well. Him leaving the refreshment lady behind and being oblivious to the trucks trying to smash him, or who they thought was to handle, clearly show he's a very naive engine. You've also got to love how much of a satisfying arc Peter Sam has in Season 4. The engines give him shit for having a crooked funnel, then he loses a funnel and continually gets teased by them. But when his new funnel arrives that helps him perform better than the other engines, they get jealous of him and only wish of having his funnel. It's very satisfying to see Peter Sam triumph in the end of this season. We see in Season 5 that his trucks broke away one time and fell off the old iron bridge, and in Season 6 his whistle got knocked off by a branch. And, well, that's really about it for Peter Sam in Season 5 and 6. In Season 7, he got a story which was kind of a sequel to one of the stories from Season 4, where he helps the refreshment lady find a tea room. It's a decent Peter Sam episode, but not too much to say in terms of his character. Interestingly, he was originally going to be the main role in the episode Rene and the Roller Coaster. The role was going to be Peter Sam instead of Rene, and in my opinion the episode would have been better if Peter Sam was the lead, but still would have just been an okay episode, not a great one. I think the reason why they did change this is because they wanted to give Rene some attention in Season 7. Although, in my opinion, I would have just been completely happy if Rene only appeared in the old bridge in character and then didn't appear. That's just me, though. So, interestingly, in the episode The Magic Lamp from Season 9, Peter Sam is portrayed as a serious, blunt character for some reason and doesn't believe in Proteus, which does feel a bit wrong to me. It feels more like something Zahandle would say rather than Peter Sam. If this were Season 4, Peter Sam would definitely be more curious and optimistic about Proteus. Peter Sam did absolutely nothing in Seasons 10 and 11, but he got an episode in Season 12. It was a follow-up story to The Magic Lamp where he finds the statue of Proteus. I'd say this is one of the better episodes of Season 12. But hey, at least Peter Sam is in character somewhat. At the number 3 spot, we have the one and only Trusty Rusty. Honestly, I didn't expect Rusty to be this high on the list. Who knew this little diesel could be one of my favourites? Now it's time to explain why I like Rusty as much as I do. In the classic series, Rusty is definitely one of the most consistent characters. In Season 4, he got a couple episodes to himself that showed he was a responsible engine, following the rules and is polite to everyone. It's really nice to see Rusty in the TV series be given a lot of material to work with, compared to the Railway series where he was barely a character outside of his debut book. Rusty is also shown to be brave and strong in Rusty's the Rescue, when he travels to the other railway to save Stepney from being scrapped. At this point in the show, Rusty is definitely the most friendly diesel. Now, I'm going to take a small break from talking about Rusty as a character. I'm here to say one of my most unpopular opinions in the Thomas fandom, but here goes. I prefer large-scale Rusty faces to the small-scale ones. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Don't scream at me, please. I'll explain why. So, jokes aside with his face, I honestly don't think the emotions themselves look that bad or ugly. They just look fine to me. And I also don't mind the larger size of the face as well. I think it actually suits Rusty better. And another reason why I prefer them to the small scale faces is because the small scale faces make him look a bit like a female in my opinion. Anyways, back on topic. Rusty was handled just as well in Season 5. We get to see he isn't afraid to put Duncan in his place when he teases Peter Sam and Duncan gets spooked, and he acts mature and responsible and very serious in situations as seen in Rusty and the Boulder. The Season 6 episode Rusty Saves the Day is not a good episode by any means, but the one thing it did get perfect is Rusty's character. He is still a very determined engine and wants to get the line fixed to help his friends, and is very clever in the way he tricks Elizabeth to help them. And, along with Scarlo and Rene in Duncan, Rusty is stern and blunt with Duncan when he is being rude and impatient. Now that I think about it, there's a small character arc with Rusty. In Season 4, when Duncan is being rude to him, he gets hurt easily and is upset, but later in Season 6, he now stands his ground against Duncan, and he actually calls him out for being rude. Rusty is shown to be heroic once again in the episode Trusty Rusty from Season 7, when he saves Duncan from a collapsing bridge, which was nice to see again after Rusty and the Rescue. But unfortunately after Season 7, Rusty's character took a bit of a hit. Rusty's only good appearance after Trusty Rusty was in Duncan in the Old Mine, where he reprimanded Duncan for breaking the barrier and was being determined to find Duncan again when he got lost in the mine. But unfortunately, all his other appearances are really bad in the hit era. Episodes like Tuneful Toots and Which Way Now incorrectly depict Rusty as impatient and irresponsible. Despite this, it's really nice that Rusty was very consistent in the classic series, and this is probably the reason why he's higher on the list than I thought he was going to be. So, at the number 2 spot is the one and only Sir Handel. Considering my channel was originally called Sir Handel Gaming, I bet a lot of you thought Sir Handel would be at the number 1 spot, huh? Well, you are wrong. Well, if I was considering only Season 4 for this ranking list, Sir Handel would definitely be at the number 1 spot, easily. But, as we all know, we have to consider the hit era as well, so yeah. But let's start off with talking about Sir Handel in Season 4. In Season 4, Sir Handel was originally called Falcon. As Falcon, he was young, naive, and impatient, as seen in episodes like Bulldog and Grandpuff. I suppose once he gained the name Sir Handel, that made him very conceited. In episodes like A Bad Day for Sir Handel, Trucks, and Steamroller, we see Sir Handel has become more of a hard, sharp, and self-obsessed engine, a bit of a mix of Gordon and James. In his eyes, he is the most important on the Scarlo Railway. He deserves only the best. And when he's given ordinary coaches instead of bogey coaches, he lashes out. And when he is asked to fetch Trucks from the quarry, he refuses and purposely derails. In Trucks, we see his manipulative side, and he convinces everyone that he is ill. And Peter Sam does his work as well as his own. Wow, what a dick, Sir Handel. You trick your best friend you've known for years and have been there for to doing your work, and results in him getting in a violent crash. Sir Handel is such a dick in Season 4, and I love it. We also get to see Sir Handel's teasing side in the episode Special Funnel, when he mocks Peter Sam's brand new funnel and sings a song about it. Asshole. In Steamroller, we see how over-competitive Sir Handel can be at times, when George makes fun of his steamroller wheels, and Sir Handel takes that to great offence. But I will forever love the scene where George says, pretending you're as good as me, and Sir Handel responds back with, actually, I'm better. Goodbye. Sir Handel in Season 4 is absolutely perfect. Why did they ruin him later? When Sir Handel gets stuck up his own ass too much, he gets karma in the most humorous way possible, as we see with the boys teasing him about his encounter with George. Now, as all of us know, Sir Handel was absent from Seasons 5 to 9, but then he actually returned in Season 10. It was revealed Sir Handel was working in the stone quarry all summer, which explained his absence. When he returned, his character completely shifted, however. For some reason, he is now the wisest and oldest engine, even older than Scarlo and Rene. Why? I hate this change so much. A lot of people think after spending time at the quarry he matured, and that could be the case, but I don't care what anyone says. Sir Handel in Season 4 is perfect, and no one can change my mind. End of. Well, if you've made it this far, I think you all know who the number 1 spot is going to. Yep, the one and only Duncan himself. Why is Duncan my number 1 favourite? I'll explain. So, despite the fact I put Duncan at the number 1 spot, I will say I am not really the biggest fan of Duncan in Season 4. The reason being is that, well, we already have Sir Handel, who is a grumpy engine who complains, and we explored his previous life on the Mid-Sodor Railway. He was much more fun to watch, but Duncan, well, is the exact same as Sir Handel. He's a grumpy engine who complains a lot, but unlike Sir Handel, he doesn't carry the arrogance or importance, and we never got his backstory. Also, something noteworthy to mention, Sir Handel's last appearance in this season was him getting humiliated in a funny way, but Duncan's was him saying sorry and apologising. Yeah, that's a bit too bland in my opinion, and in my opinion, Sir Handel is clearly the more interesting of the two. I know a lot of people will probably get angry at me for saying this, but he is just Sir Handel, but simplified, and I think having both of them in the same season feels like a bit too much. I'm not saying the Duncan episodes are bad, they're actually really good, they're just the weakest of the Narrow Gauge episodes in my opinion. I do really like Duncan's dynamic with Rusty, however. I will admit that, but he's not really got anything else going for him in this season. Now, as said before, Season 5 saw no Sir Handel. He became absent from the show, which means one of the two quote-unquote bad guys of the Scarlo Railway is now gone. Right away, This massively helps Duncan in the following seasons. And I'm gonna say, from season 5 onwards, I love Duncan. I absolutely love Duncan. This is the reason why he got his number 1 spot. That is rightfully deserved. Duncan still shares the same personality traits as Sahandel, but since Sahandel's gone, it doesn't matter anymore. Just having Duncan by himself makes it way more enjoyable. In Duncan Gets Spooked, Rusty tells a story about a ghost engine, but Duncan doesn't believe him at first. Then, his crew makes a plan to spook Duncan, which works very, very well, leaving poor Duncan scared shitless, and I am all here for it. But besides Duncan getting scared, this is genuinely a really great episode with lots of spooky visuals. If you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend you go watch the Unlucky Tugs video on Duncan Gets Spooked that came out around 4 years ago. The following season, season 6, brought us Duncan, and Faulty Whistles. 2 very great Duncan episodes. In Duncan, Duncan is being a dick to Scarlo, Rene, and Rusty, ignoring their advice, and what happens to him in return? Well, his chain gets tangled at the incline, which pulls him up to the top and snaps, sending him downhill, flying him off a cliff, landing into a pit of shit. Holy shit, Duncan had it rough in these 2 seasons, didn't he? And in Faulty Whistles, Duncan is a cocky bastard, showing off his whistle to everyone he passes, and then that comes back to bite him in the asshole when he blows his whistle so hard it shoots off like a rocket, and no one is able to find it. Wow, great on you, Duncan. Half of me feels sorry for Duncan, but half of me wants to laugh in Duncan's face at the same time. These are all episodes where Duncan is funny and unlikable, but karma gets the better of him in the best way possible, and I am all here for it. This was truly Duncan's best era. In season 7, we get the episode Trusty Rusty, and unfortunately, Duncan kinda downgraded here when he calls Rusty a smelly diesel again. Yes, I'm aware he did the same thing in season 6 in Duncan, but the difference is, in that episode, he didn't say it to Rusty's face, but in this episode, he clearly does. I will say though, the Runaway Elephant is quite a good Duncan episode, and has a good runaway scene. But I will admit, Duncan's comeuppance is very, very weak in this episode. It isn't funny like the previous episodes, and it feels very lackluster. He's just the Fat Controller telling him off, and nothing special to it, to be honest. But at least in this episode, Duncan feels more like Duncan, which I'm happy to see. Now, when we get to the hit era, Duncan's character has slightly shifted. He used to be a grumpy complainer who hates everyone. Now, he is a curious and sly engine who can get a bit ahead of himself. I like this character change a lot. It shows Duncan has learned to stop being angry all the time, and is more optimistic about the world and other things. But he is still very true to the Duncan we all know and love. He is very reckless as shown in Duncan in the Old Mine, and likes to scheme in episodes like Duncan's Bluff. Duncan, however, is way more likeable here than he is in the classic series. When watching a classic series episode, I want to see Duncan fail and be humiliated, but in the hit era, I want to see Duncan achieve his goal and win in the end. In my honest opinion, there is no season in the show that handled Duncan badly. Sure, some seasons were weaker than others, but all of them got Duncan fairly good in my opinion. Season 7 isn't that great for Duncan in my opinion, but at least he still felt like Duncan in that season, despite him belittling Rusty to his face again. But truly, Duncan is the only narrow gauge engine that had a decent run in my opinion from seasons 4 to 12 of the show, which is why he is my favourite narrow gauge engine. And wait a minute. I've reached the end of the script. It's the end of the video. Boy, that was a long one, wasn't it? Well, thank you everyone who tuned into this video and watched it. I hope you enjoyed. I am not used to making long scripts like these for videos. I might do some more videos like these in the future, but I won't make any promises. I might stick to shorter videos in the future. I don't know, but hopefully I can put another long sort of analysis video out maybe. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I know Halloween is coming very soon, and I hope you all enjoy this year's Halloween. I hope you have the best time. And, well, I don't have anything else really to say other than, well, I'll see you in the next video. Wait a minute. You meaning to tell me he didn't put me at the #1 spot? Are you kidding me?